Welcome back to Soulsborne News. I'm MTK, and here are the recent Souls and Souls-like stories. Like me. The streamer Dr. Doot has beaten the Nameless King at level 1 while taking no damage, but the crazy part is that he did all of that while using a saxophone as the controller. That's right, not only can a saxophone produce some of the most smooth, jazzy music that'll make you forget all your pain and sorrows, no, now it can also deal out dodge rolls and R1s like a complete boss. But honestly though, covering streamers and the crazy things that they do is a lot of fun to me. Number one, because I can't do them and I have a lot of respect for these people. But number two, the commitment and skill that it takes is truly admirable. And I think that it's a good thing to promote them out to other people so that they can see what they're able to do and what they're able to accomplish. But also, I will say, I do think that his choice of instrument was pretty interesting, because he didn't choose like one of the more popular instruments like a guitar, the drums, the piano, nothing like that. No, he chose a saxophone. So I'm officially starting a petition for a streamer somewhere to beat an Elden Ring boss, anybody but myself, that is, to beat an Elden Ring boss with a kazoo. That's obviously the logical conclusion here. We either need a kazoo or one of those little party blowers that shoots in and out that make you want to punch your nephew in the face. So yeah, we need an R level 1 no skidoo tree kazoo run. And on that same note, the streamer Biotic Nova has defeated the Elden Ring DLC at level 1 with no skidoo tree fragments, all while playing one-handed. Yes, you heard me correctly. You can see at the top corner of her screen, she has a camera fixated on her hand that shows the strange grip she has on the top of the controller that allowed her to play one-handed. Honestly, I don't even get how you do this. How do you come up with this? How do you train for it? I mean, think of the hand cramps that come along with this kind of run. She must have had like some kind of strange hand workout routine she had to do for months leading up to it. I don't get, why would you do this? The Game Awards have confirmed that Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree is eligible for the Game of the Year award. Now this has obviously sparked a lot of controversy online, both in the Souls community and outside of the Souls community, bringing up the question as to whether DLCs and expansions should be eligible for such an award. Now I will say that it doesn't really matter what people think online or what I think really, because this is obviously going to be eligible and there's nothing we can really do about it. However, I will offer my 2 cents on the topic. I think that there should be a separate category for DLCs and expansions. I think that only makes sense. A full-size game or a new game is not the same thing as a DLC or an expansion. Just by nature, they have different names for a reason. But as long as they're going to allow it, I will vote for it, because I do think that Shadow of the Erdtree has enough quality and content to justify winning a Game of the Year, but I do wish that there was a separate category. But regardless, this is where we're at, so it's got my vote, and hopefully they will expand the categories in the future. An interesting rumor has recently hit the airwaves, claiming that we are going to be getting a Dark Souls 3 remaster. This comes from Nick Baker over on the Xbox Era podcast, where he claims that an anonymous source has told him that there will be a Dark Souls 3 remaster. Now, at this point, we really don't have anything to go on other than, trust me bro, this is going to happen. So I wouldn't necessarily say that this is something we should put a lot of stock in. However, it has brought out some interesting reactions within the Souls community that I'd like to cover. The first one is that Dark Souls 3 is looking good, running good already, and it doesn't really need a remaster. The second one, and the more obvious one, is that Bloodborne doesn't have a remaster, and a Dark Souls 3 remaster would just be another slap to the face. So, on the first point, I would say this. Dark Souls 3 does still run well, and it still looks beautiful. However, a little bit more enhancement and a higher frame rate and an excuse to play through it again, it wouldn't have me complaining, so I don't really think that's a very valid criticism. The second point is much more valid, however, this really doesn't have anything to do with Fromsoftware. Sony owns the Bloodborne IP, and for some reason they won't do anything with it. So a Dark Souls 3 remaster would just be Fromsoft doing what they can with what they have, and they don't have any control over whether they do a Bloodborne remaster first or a Dark Souls 3 remaster first. It's not really up to them. It's really up to Sony. So I don't think that that's a valid criticism either. I would personally be excited for a Dark Souls 3 remaster. I would buy it. I would play it, definitely. So I don't think that there's much of a reason to get in an uproar about this. But also, as I stated at the beginning, there's really not a good reason to believe that this is 100% true or maybe even credible at all. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Sony is reportedly attempting to acquire Kadokawa, the parent company of Fromsoftware. Now, a couple years prior to all of this, Sony has already purchased about 14% of Fromsoftware's stock, and Kadokawa currently owns about 70% of FromSoft stock. So if Sony were to acquire Kadokawa, they would be majority owners of about 84% of the company, which would effectively give them the ability to call the shots and do what they will. Now, this is not really a rumor anymore. This has been confirmed by Kadokawa that they have received a letter of intent from Sony Interactive to acquire them. So it's not really a question as to whether the talks are happening. It's just a question of whether it will actually take place or not. Now, this brings about a ton of question marks. The first being, what is going to happen to Fromsoftware? Is Sony going to come in and micromanage, put their foot down, and cause much of what made Fromsoftware so great to be diminished and hampered by too much management? Or will they come in and provide funding and support and take a backseat to Fromsoftware's greatness and allow them to do what they've always done? That we do not know. Either of those things is a possibility. And judging by Sony's past, we still can't really judge what would happen, which one would happen. We don't know. However, this also brings up another question regarding Bloodborne. Sony owns the Bloodborne IP. So if Fromsoftware were to be directly underneath the Sony umbrella, would that be the gateway to us finally seeing a Bloodborne sequel or a remake or a remaster or anything Bloodborne? Would that be the thing that instigates whatever has to happen for Bloodborne to move on? That is another question we still don't know. The only thing we know at this time is that the talks are currently ongoing and the acquisition could take place. It could also fall apart. But if it does happen, it could bring about a season of prosperity for the Souls genre, and it could also spell disaster. It looks like Stellar Blade will be coming to PC in 2025. This comes from a Q3 financial report from the game's developer ShiftUp, where they claim that expanding to a new platform, i.e. PC, is in their plan for increased revenue for the franchise. So if you're a PC player and you've been waiting to play this game, you may not have to wait much longer. We don't have an exact release date. All we know is that it will be sometime in 2025. Lords of the Fallen has joined the list of Souls-like games that has PS5 Pro enhancements. In a post on the official Lords of the Fallen X account, they said this: experience Axiom and Umbral like never before with the enhanced vision of Lords of the Fallen now available on PS5 Pro. Performance mode, 4K 60 with sharper detail and refined textures for a smoother experience. Quality mode, native 4K 30 for stunning visual fidelity and breathtaking detail. So if you're a fan of Lords of the Fallen and you happen to have a PS5 Pro, you might want to jump back over to it and give it a try. It's time now for the Indie Spotlight, and today we're taking a look at Alaloth, Champions of the Four Kingdoms. Now, I've covered this game in the past, mostly because they recently had a delay in their launch. This game was supposed to launch several weeks ago, but I'm proud to report that this game has now successfully launched and is available on Steam, and is currently on sale for about 10% off. It's a unique blend between Dark Souls and Baldur's Gate. It's a super intriguing indie project. I highly recommend that you head over to Steam, consider picking up a copy. I have, and I can't wait to jump in and give it a try. Those are all the stories that I wanted to cover for today. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.